Welcome to the third episode of Loose Paws. We look back on the first ranking event of the 9-ball world rankings. The Derby City Classic 9-ball division is done and dusted. We'll be joined by our first winner on the rankings, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. But very shortly for now, I'm delighted to say Emily Frazer joins me. Emily, you were there, weren't you? How good was it?
Wow, that was it's a very eye-opening, different experience, I must say. But it was great to just catch up. I mean, I think I was there for like a day and a half. It was great to catch up with a lot of the players that were there. Chad Charlo, who obviously took the decision to come on board with us as part of the 9-ball rankings, who did say that he saw an increase from European participation in the 9-ball side of the tournament, which obviously helps on all the other disciplines. I mean, seeing Fedor and Albin playing the other disciplines that were there at Derby Classic, it was just fantastic to see that increase in participation, really. And that's what the rankings does. You know, that's the first one on the list, and we're just inundated with people now saying, I want to be a part of it, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I remember waking up in the morning, checking my Facebook, and Fedor is swimming in checks. So, I mean, I can't wait to see him. Like, dinner, lunch is definitely on this guy, isn't it?
Definitely not. He's probably tight as anything. He was, I mean, I watched one pocket for one evening. That was the final that was on the TV table, with the 9-ball events were happening behind me on the other tables. And I watched it and I thought, right, okay. And I've gone onto Wikipedia and I searched one pocket to learn all of the rules. And Francisco's laughing because he's like, oh my gosh, you've got no chance here. And I'm sat there and I'm thinking, right, okay, I've got a good understanding of this. I get it. And so then the matches started and it's Fedor and Josh Roberts. And I'd like to watch Josh Roberts play because I keep hearing that name when we talk about Team USA. You know, the captains always bring Josh Roberts up. And I asked him when I saw him, I said, how comes you've never made the Mosconi Cup? Like, what's your plans? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Do you want to try and make the Mosconi Cup? And he was like, yeah, I do. It's just, you know, I've got a family and I need to think about traveling and, you know, there's expenses. And so you get an understanding for how much money there is in the sport, or how little money there is. But I was watching this one pocket and within 5 minutes, I was like, nah, I'm totally lost. I thought I had it. Definitely wasn't. It's kind of like the snooker side, really, a lot of safety play. And so I did enjoy it for a little while. I think I watched a few weeks and I dipped out. I was like, no, 9-ball's the one for me, definitely. But it was fantastic to see. I wasn't there when Francisco won, but I was keeping an eye on who was still left in the tournament. And I could see Francisco's name always cropping up. And I mean, congratulations, because I think that's just fantastic for you, because you've always kind of been in the shadow of David slightly, as, you know, reigning from Spain, and, you know, how it happens with the Whirlpool Masters, how many players we can have in our tournaments. And I think it's just fantastic that you can start off this year top of those rankings. And now all of a sudden people will go, oh, Francisco for the Mosconi Cup. I mean, you must be feeling fantastic.
Yeah, I feel great. I can't believe it, to be honest. I think to win the first tournament of the year is give me extra confidence. The 9-ball was tough. I get the draw was so tough for me. I played with Shane. I played against Albin. I played Joshua twice. I lost in the first round against David Alcaide. So it's a long way, but yeah, I'm really happy with my performance. Yeah.
Do you find that you said you had a tough draw, and I think I spoke to Mario briefly when and he was telling me the draws that he had as well. Do you feel that if you have a tough draw to start off with, you kind of get your confidence going? You go, well, okay, I've got this tournament, because you're playing the top players first off, and it just sets you off for the rest of the event, really.
Yeah, I get that tough draw because when I play with Shane, I was down 6-1. If I lost with Shane, I'm out of the tournament. So I came back to this match. I win this match, give me extra confidence. After this match, I play against Albin. So I win against, I think this match is my best match of the tournament. Then I play with Joshua. So when you beat a world champion, maybe you can win the tournament.
Francisco, Joshua Filler in the final. You know what he's like, the killer. But that was quite a comprehensive win in that final. Did everything just go right for you in that final?
Yeah, I know Joshua maybe is the best competitor in the final 9-ball event, but I believe in myself. I play with him a lot of time, but 9-ball is, I think, is my game, you know. But I get also a little bit lucky in the final. I break my break work is working in the final, but I think I'm really happy with this final.
And did the players talk about the way Paul, how big it could be this year? Was everybody talking together? Because I saw so many of the guys there. What was the conversations you were having in general about the year ahead for you all?
Yeah, everyone is told me, oh, maybe Mosconi for you, but I know it's gonna be tough because it's only the first tournament. We have a World 9-ball, US Open, so many tournaments left. But I feel like I'm ready to the tournament. You know, I feel really confident. Also, the last year I won 2 Euro Tour. I think give me too much confidence. It's not a big tournament like World 9-ball, but it's big tournament in Europe. So I think I'm really happy with my game right now.
Well, Emily, the tournament you're focusing on next is something Francisco might be involved in too, potentially.
Oh, yeah. Are you in, Francisco?
What do you say?
Are you in for the Premier League pool?
I don't know.
No, I'm asking. Are you in? You want to play?
Yeah, I want to play for sure right now.
Yeah, I think it was a no-brainer for us to reveal the 4th wild card to be Francisco. So we'd love to have you there. So book your flight, get over to London Heathrow and start playing on the 14th of Feb.
Yeah. To be honest, I can't believe for play because I never played like a league format. So I think it's really interesting format. So I cannot wait for play.
Well,
sorry, Emily, go on.
Well, I was going to say, even though it's not the ranking event, and I think this is what's so brilliant about the rankings is that, yes, there's 16 players in Premier League pool, top 12 come off of the rankings. Obviously, if some decline because of travel, we continue down the rest of the rankings, and the 4 remaining players are wild cards. So we're sitting there and we're thinking, you know, we've got Kelly Fisher on board, we've got Skylar Woodward, and then all of a sudden, Francisco comes and wins the 9-ball event at Derby, which is the first ranking event on our schedule. And it's a no-brainer for us to bring Francisco into the tournament. So this is what is fantastic about the rankings. You see our current top 32, which is the list we're working on for the rest of the year up until the Mosconi Cup. And then you actually see the live rankings, the real-time rankings, which is going to come into effect from the Mosconi Cup 2022 and into 2023. And to be able to turn around at Premier League and say, well, Francisco is actually currently the top ranked on the list that we're going to be using. So it's just great that we've got this now. There's this transparency, and you never know, you might go on to win Premier League pool, Francisco, and then all of a sudden that top 32 list that's actually being used this year, that might have to change and to reflect obviously your recent performances.
Yeah, it's really interesting format. I never played this format. I think it's good because you play a lot of matches. So yeah, I think I'm going to play, I try my best in this tournament.
Francisco, we can't wait to see you there. Many congratulations. It's fully deserved. And the Premier League is going to be so special for you. Playing the best players in the world on a consistent basis, it's only going to help your game and everyone else's game going forward for the big events. And I'll probably see you, I think, at the UK Open. So I look forward to seeing you then. And I'm loving that hair at the moment. So keep that growing.
Okay, thank you guys for the spot. Thank you, Emily, all team Matchroom. So it's always a pleasure to play a Matchroom event. It's I can't wait for the event. So see you soon, amigos.
Bye, Francisco. Many congratulations.
Thank you.
So that was Francisco there. Emily, isn't it nice to surprise people? It's so nice.
Don't you really got what was saying?
I know. I'm not giving him a birthday present. Blimey, that's the reaction.
It's like, you're in. He's like, in what? Huh? I think his English is absolutely fine. It's nowhere near as bad as what he says.
It's
I think
better
we
than
just
my
need
Spanish.
to pull him out a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of people when we interview people in other sports and it's like, I'm sorry about my English. I say, I'm sorry about my German, to be honest with you, mate. Naoki, I'm sorry about my Japanese. So, I mean, don't worry about it. It's fine. I get embarrassed. I'm like, go on, Naoki, you go for it. Which I can't wait for the whole year, trust me. But look, on Francisco, I mean, the Premier League lineup, I mean, when we put our graphic out about the players, you're just like, wow, that is star-studded. But Francisco, straight away, he's in and he fully deserves it, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he said himself he feels good with 9-ball. And these race to 5 matches, and I love the Premier League format this year. I mean, we only just launched Championship League last year, and everyone knows we took it off of the Championship League snooker model, and because it works very well. But we realized that pool's very different to snooker. Pool's players are very international based. I mean, our top UK player actually lives in America, to put it into perspective. So the one-day events just doesn't work, and it's just it's not good for the players. They were turning up for a one-day group, groups tournament for a minimum of like $500. This time you got 16 players. They're all playing across 5 days, and they have to all play one another, and they're guaranteed $2,500. So it's a much better format. It's going to be relentless matches. The production is very much how it was for Championship League last year. It's a behind closed doors format. It is just for your fans out there who just want to watch pool non-stop all day. That's what you're going to see, but you are seeing the best. And that's why it's the top 12 on the rankings, plus the wild cards, because we should have the best players in there. And yes, we're missing out on a few of the Coe brothers, for instance, who are unable to travel at the moment. But I mean, we're getting messages from them now saying, so do I qualify for the World Pool Masters? I mean, Kopin Yi is now asking, so do I qualify for the Masters event? We want to come over. Well, at the moment, Kopin Chung's within that top, he would effectively qualify for it. So now the world's starting to open back up again. And the rankings is just going to in a year's time, Michael, when we're sitting here, we're going to be in a total different ball game. And it's just exciting, but you can feel that buzz from the players at the moment, just going over to Derby. I mean, they might be different when I walk away, but they're excited, and they can finally see a way to earn their money and to actually start a living out of pool. There's only a few pool players who actually can earn a living throughout the whole year. Really, really small handful of players. Yeah. Whereas our job is to now turn that into a full tour, 128 players, and to actually grow the professional game. The amateur game's huge. Everyone plays pool in America. Everyone knows about pool, but they don't know about this 9-ball game. It's entertaining, it's exciting, and that's what we're going to deliver.
Yeah. I suppose for JJ as well, to get that 9-ball, because in a few years, he might have problems about leaving some real top players out, because obviously he had such a difficult Mosconi Cup. But with this 9-ball preference, it could make life easier for him, couldn't it?
Well, exactly. It just gives everyone a streamlined picture as to what the year's looking at. The comments we're receiving at the moment, which we're well aware of, is, for instance, the UK Open. It's sold out. I mean, no lie, it's sold out in 30 minutes. It was coming through on the phone, and we saw that it was just selling out. We capped the entry field, and we managed to save spots back for the top 32, but also on the American side, because we understand when we opened entries at time when you're in Vegas, it wasn't prime time for you, sort of thing. And now we're telling the story to the American players that, look, you want to make Mosconi Cup, you got to earn your right to be on the team, and you got to play these ranking events. But they can't play the ranking events if they can't get an entry into them. So what we're looking at is to ensure that the players are actually, getting a spot in these events. But as well, on the other side, we were very clear from day one when those entries were going on sale. If you really want to bloody play in that event, you get your calendar and you block in UK Open entries, and you set a reminder. me, you, we all have to set alarms to get up in the morning to go to bloody work. So that's what we should be doing. The players should be looking at that and saying, right, I want to get my entry in. And this is exactly what's going to happen on the US Open.
Yeah.
This is when the entries will be available. You want to get your spot, you get in. And if you're in the top 32, you get your seeding. We got to try and professionalize everyone. We got to educate them into the right direction. So I'm not saying it's, it's A or B sort of thing. We're trying to help and we're trying to encourage and work with the players. But again, we can't spoon feed anyone.
Emily, look, we've seen the National Billiard League and the Kremlin Cup come on board. Now, this is pretty major, isn't it, with the Kremlin Cup changing disciplines whilst the NBL offers 2 tournaments for the USA?
Major news. The day that we announced the 9-ball rankings, the organisers of the Kremlin Cup got in touch with us straight away and were quite relentless about it. And they were one of the tournaments on our list that we wanted to get over and to get onto the rankings, and we reached out to beforehand. But it's quite a major step. It's not just easy peasy to go, yeah, just switch to 9-ball and come on over. But we do all have to come together and see what we're trying to do and show that we have the history of 9-ball, we have the entertainment factor. And yeah, you might see that there's other versions of the game that some people may find is more competitive or and I'm not saying that 9-ball is the better discipline of the game, but it's the more commercial form of the game. It is the entertainment, whilst it is also competitive at the same time. So to switch over to 9-ball, I mean, the Kremlin Cup found that's very straightforward. They said, yeah, we're switching over. We're going to broadcast this, which is now incredible. The conversations that we're having with the Kremlin Cup is, okay, so how do we distribute this to the rest of the world? So all of a sudden you've got the Kremlin Cup that was a 10-ball event that was welcoming about 100 players. Now you're looking at the Kremlin Cup this October, doubling the field, more players, broadcast on TV, as well as the rest of the world with support of Matchroom. So that's what the rankings is doing. And I applaud these promoters who want to make the decision and make the move. It's, it was a bit hard to do it before the announcement because you don't know what to expect. But now the NBL has come over and they're changing some of their disciplines to the 9-ball because they see the benefit. They're seeing this benefit. And the 2023 calendar, it's going to start to become so full of events. And we have to look at it from a world perspective. We can't expect everyone to just keep traveling to Europe. We have to find a balance throughout the whole world for everyone. So it's going to be quite tricky, but we're just finding our feet. We welcome any sort of promoters that want to come on board with us. And we're just trying to walk before we can run, I think.
Yeah, well, it's been a brilliant few weeks, and it was great to see all the pictures from the Derby City Classic as well. Let's finish on the next event, the Premier League pool. Obviously, as you mentioned, it is a non-ranking event. That's 12 players off the 9-ball rankings and 4 wildcards. One person not there is Fedor. Do you have an update on why he's not there?
Yeah, it's just with Fedor, I think with the everything that's going on in the world right now, visas coming into the UK. I mean, there needs to be a much bigger lead time to get visas into the UK. So, I mean, as soon as we saw Fedor was just like back to back winning, and just everyone at Derby talking about how strong of a player he is. And I mean, I could even see watching him play the one pocket game, how solid and just focused he is. So he was a no-brainer for the Premier League pool. Yeah. But we physically can't get him here. As much as we would love Carlo Biardo to be in the Premier League pool, he's the US Open reigning champion, but he can't get here. So we have to accept some of those, circumstances. And it's a shame, but we'd love to see Fedor over for the World Pool Championship, which is what he's now working on with his visa. So, it's a tough world at the moment, and we just have to try but that's why it's good that Premier League isn't a ranking event, because, you have to make sure that everything's as fair as possible. So Premier League's going to be interesting, relentless matches, incredible players. And And if you're in America, you watching live on DAZN. And in the UK, you can watch on Matchroom Live and also our Facebook and YouTube channels.
I mean, you know, we talk about Federer not being able to, you know, and it's a shame. We'll see him throughout the year, but we've got Spain, we've got Austria, Germany, United States being represented, Albania, Greece, Kuwait. Jason Shaw, Scottish, but living in America. I mean, we do have players from all over the world anyway, don't we? And they are phenomenal players.
Yeah, we've got the top dogs. I mean, I saw Omar Al-Shaheen over in Louisville, and I'm so excited that he's coming to play in this event, because if it wasn't for the rankings, he possibly wouldn't even be able to get on board onto one of these shows. So, and it's showing through, you know, our selection process, and it's showing through these events. And you see someone like Omar, who's clearly a fantastic player. I feel he's always gone under the radar, but he travels to every tournament, and he is someone who will benefit off of the rankings because he travels everywhere, and he should get rewarded for that. I mean, he got that welcome reception he got when he came runner-up to the World Championship was phenomenal. And so now him at Premier League, you know, he's turned around and said to me, I'm so excited to come and play in this kind of format. But all of a sudden you've got Max Lettner, who's now on board, who's, you know, I bet it's hard to get into these tournaments when you've got Albin Ocean as sort of like the number one from your country. But you do have a full elite field. You've got Kelly Fisher, who's going to have her opportunity, who's within our top 40 of the rankings. Now, she's going to be looking at that and going, well, I did pretty well in Championship League. This format's probably quite ideal for me. And, you know, you could be looking at very good performance from her. And certainly one thing that we really want to see is a lot of the women playing in the open events. I mean, I saw Pia Filler playing in the 9-ball event because she's smart. She knows if she can get some prize money on that, she can get herself onto the rankings. And this is both men and female rankings. Anyone can be a part of it. So the more open events you play, the more ranking events you play, you just climb your way up there.
Here's a cue. Show us how good you are. Simple as that, man or woman.
Exactly.
Nice to see Aloysius Yap on that list as well, because what a lovely guy, and he did so well at the US Open. So it's great to see him in as well.
Definitely. I mean, you're listing names off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like Yap. Like if you look at that field of 16 players, and you had to put your money on who's going to win, you're like, well, actually, like, there's so many. There's so many, and I say underdogs. Like it may be really unfair to call, you know, Aloysius, Omar, even like a Max or a Francisco as underdogs, but in the bigger tournaments next to the other players, they potentially could be seen as that, but they're not. That's what's brilliant about this tournament, is that any one of these players can win, because it is a grind. It shows, you know, if your strength is 9-ball and, you know, you're practicing and you're working hard at this game, you're going to win this kind of tournament because it's fair. It's across the board. You know, anyone's got a chance for this. And I think the strongest will prevail. And we never saw Shane Van Boening at Championship League. So we don't know how he's going to match up in this kind of format, the race to fives. It's going to be really interesting to see how this league table forms, how the players get on. But I wouldn't put my money on someone to win. It's just, it's too difficult. Too many good players.
Well, I tell you what, any Paul fan is in for an absolute treat. I couldn't pick a winner there. Can you pick a winner? Tweet us at Matchroom Paul if you've got someone who you think is going to win. But there's one guarantee: you're in for an absolute treat looking at that list of players from the rankings and the 4 wild cards. Before we wrap up, Emily, is there any other business, any other news you want to get out? I mean, we've done a lot in a packed half hour.
We have indeed. A lot of tickets are coming everyone's way in the next couple of weeks. You know, we were behind closed doors for a very long time in 2020 and 2021. So tickets is quite a new thing for us. But we're going to be looking at the Mosconi Cup tickets for Bally's in December. They're going to be coming on. They're going to be on sale during the Premier League pool. We've got Whirlpool Masters. Those tickets are going to be on sale, and we've trying to look at hotel ticket packages for everyone to try and make it, you know, more of an easier stay for everyone on the budgets. World Cup of Pool. The venue and tickets going to be coming on sale. That's going to be within the next 3 weeks. And the UK Open. So we sold out the entries. We've got, I think, now 400 players on the waiting list.
Wow.
And we've got the venue. We're at the Copper Box. Now we need to get tickets on sale. So it's just working with how that arena is going to look, and getting people in there. So within the next 3 weeks, you're going to be seeing all of our UK events coming on sale, as well as the big one, the Moscone Cup. And even though we're looking at a big auditorium for it, we've had so many requests from it. The VIP package is going to change slightly. There's potentially a bit of a new seating area that you can sit at, which we're going to display for everyone to see. So this is the month, February is the month of tickets. This is when, don't go out and go and waste some money on, any clothes or anything. Save up and get these tickets to the events.
So very finally, before you go, I remember you talking to me about the UK Open plans, and I've got an idea, just over a year ago. You've got to be so proud to talk about entries being sold out in record time for a tournament you were thinking about a year ago.
I know. And I think we initially did it to see what the demand was like for 9-ball in the UK, because, we've always, the US Open sells out in record timing. I think we kind of think that we're stronger in America. So now it's a beautiful sort of silver lining to it that we've looked at, and we were expecting to do well, but we were kind of taking a bit of a punt on the UK Open. And we did that as well with the European. When I know we announced the UK first, but when we made the decision to do the UK Open, it was a decision for both the UK and Europe. So we looked at this and said, right, we know there's a demand in America. We know the US Open sells out. Is there a demand in the UK and Europe? Now we sold the UK out. There's I think we've got 100 Brits that are on the entry list, and over 50% of the waiting list is British players. So now we're going to be looking at European Open and going, okay, that's going to be in Germany. What kind of entry is that going to be looking like? And broadcasters are interested because these events are, they're selling out. We're getting 256 players through the door. We're at Championship League Snooker at the moment. Some of the snooker players are interested. I know Martin Gould has asked. I've got a funny feeling Judd's he really enjoyed the US Open. I think he's going to be interested to play in the UK. So it's just going to be like a crazy arena of all these different players coming in. And then it just opens the door for us in a few years' time. What about Q School? It's just, there's so many different things happening. And this is just the beginning. I mean, we haven't even peaked yet.
Yeah, fantastic. Emily, it's so exciting. And I know the plans, when they come to fruition, they're going to be good. They're really going to be good. Cannot wait. That's all for Loose Pool today. We'll keep you up to date with all the news on our social media channels. But for now, thanks for listening, and we'll see you very soon.